I'm just saying that the guy standing there who makes the goal doesn't make the goal if somebody on the team doesn't pass him the ball. So everybody's got to do their part to achieve the goal.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I pick up on that, but also on this one, something about we don't do the same role, all of us,
Right.
to achieve anything. We all have different bits that we might do, and we need to find what that is in the game. And I think about the relationship between game and play is that I think my experience of knowing what the game is, like looking at Messi is a great metaphor. He knows football like it's in he's embodied the whole thing. He sees the whole pitch, behind him, in front of him, 10 years ahead of him, 10 years behind him. He's a historian of football. But therefore he can play completely freely. He's free to do whatever he wants on the pitch. He moves around like a swan, dancing across, moving past people as if they weren't there, and scoring goals with both feet, with his head, with his nose. But that's because he knows the game. If you don't know the game, I don't know if you can play that easily. You need to know the game. You need to know who the players in the game, what are the rules. Some of the rules, they're not fixed. They're there to be broken. But that you can play the game. You know the game, then you can play within it. You can be free to really go, I've been told that Palestinians are my enemy. That's the beginning point of the narrative. I know that's the game. But I start breaking the rules around that and go, no, I go to the West Bank and I go through the red barrier that says I'm going to die if I go here. That's what they tell me. The big red sign to say, if you go in here, you will die. That's an abbreviation. It's about what?
Your life is in danger.
Life is in danger. If you're Israeli in particular, if you're Jewish, your life is more in danger.
There's actually a sign.
It actually says your life is in danger. Yes, there's a sign like this. So I can only play the game as an Israeli of peacemaking with Palestinians if I know the game to begin with. I can't play the game if I kind of go, well, that doesn't exist. There is no game. So I think we need to know the game to be able to play freely in this game of peacemaking. You can't ignore the game. The game matters. What the rules of the game are. That's my opinion.
There is action happening in our communities every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is action happening. What is some of the action that is happening on a daily basis?
News.
What do you hear on the news?
Bad things.
What are the things? What are the bad things we hear? There's stabbing, okay? Israelis. There are Palestinians who are stabbing Israelis. This is action, right? Okay? There are Israelis who are shooting Palestinians. This is action. What do we do as activists in general? We sit
and listen.
and we talk about it. We turn off the radio. We ignore it. We have conversations sitting in circles and sharing our opinion on it. We go into the blaming and the complaining. I blame my people, I complain about my people, you blame your people, you complain about your people, and we blame each other's people and complain about each other's people. And then for me it's asking the question, who is playing on the pitch? They're actually even determining the rules of engagement. They're playing their game. Most people who want to break the possibility of peace are playing a game. And we are just sitting on the stand. I am sitting on the stand, sharing my opinion, smoking an nargile in Bethlehem, and talking about it. And actually believing I'm making a difference. This is the challenge that I want to throw out. So it's not about, for me, part of the studying of this nonlinear is really how do I make this a practice. When I begin to understand that I'm actually just sharing my opinion on something, then I acknowledge I'm just sharing my opinion. I don't have to say my opinion is going to change anything or not change anything. But for me the question is, what can we do if we want to stop the violence that's happening?
Stop talking about it.
We could talk about it, we could assess it, we could build visions around it, but at the end of the day, if we want a result, and I'm just going to jump a little bit into that and then we go back. If we want
We need projects.
This is what I was asking.
result,
How do you field.
What do we need? What's the first word that somebody said?
Action.
Action. Okay. I need to engage in action. No result will come without action.
Where do you draw the line between talking about something and taking an action? Like, for example, now, are you talking or?
I am talking. I'm just talking.
No, it's not right. You're taking action. You came here and you give
No. If my result is to stop violence in our streets, me coming here and talking about it is not going to stop violence in the streets.
unless we
Don't over amplify what we are doing. We are having amazing conversations. We do planning, we do study, we do research, so that we can hopefully
Take action.
begin to develop actions. That's
I disagree with you, because, for example, you don't know, maybe 2 minutes ago I had thinking maybe I will stab an Arabic, and now I listened to you and I decided not to do it. So you stopped violence. Otherwise, how you stop violence, Now you stopped violence in me.
yeah, but you're giving me.
No, seriously. When you say, if I'm not in the streets stopping violence...
I'm not saying, no. I'm not saying being in the streets.
So what
You
do
see,
you...
your assessment. I'm not saying what the action is. I'm saying we need to engage in action. The action can be a conversation with the person who is about to really go stab somebody. Not the action sitting with peace activists talking about my desire to talk to that person. That's an action. Okay. Let me put this model up.
Misha Makshi.
And then I'll talk about, because this is a very important point to talk about. Okay. So for results to happen, I think we agree, if you want results in your life, you need to engage in action. For this university to happen, many different actions have to take place, right? I think we agree, including whatever action you did coming here. That's an action. You drove your car to come here, you applied for this course, you got accepted for this course. All of these things are needed as actions so that the result can happen. If I ask what is needed for action to happen?
project.
Projects, will, understanding, education. If you had all of these things,
People.
Motivation.
if you had motivation, understanding, and will, would this
Commitment.
course have happened?
Commitment.
Commitment, would this course have happened?
Money.
Someone will do it.
Money.
You need resources, right?
Money.
Okay. You need things to be available to you. I could talk about wanting to eat a fancy meal, whatever that fancy meal is. I could have an opinion on it. I could have an inspiration to have a fancy meal. I could have a dream to have a fancy meal. At the end of the day, I need money to go to the market, to buy the food, to come home, to cook it, and to eat, and maybe even knowledge to cook it. The word we use here is opportunities.
But when you say all these things, I feel that you are falling to the same traps that you warned us from before. You fall into the same conditioning and the same conversation in your head that in order to do this, you need this, this, and this. And where is the non-linear whatever that you are trying to teach us?
This is it.
This is not it.
This is the linear, non-linear approach. This is how we live our life. Because what's beautiful about the non-linear training, as I said before, it is as realistic as can be. There is no theory here, really as a theory. If we look into our life, whatever you do in your life, almost every day you are engaging in something in this triangle. We work. Why do we work?
To achieve results.
To create opportunities, to engage in action, to achieve results. Why do I go to work every day? Why do I get in my car and drive to my office every day? As an action, because I want to achieve results. What allows me to get in my car? A salary, that I can pay my fuel, I can pay my rent. So these opportunities I have to have in order to engage in action to achieve results. Okay?
Why you call it opportunity? Why this?
Opportunity means things that need to be available for me. It's a specific word, but it's resources, which includes strategy, planning, all the things that are needed so that I can have an action. Okay, so to come here, what are the things that I needed to come here?
Airplane.
Well,
Tax.
I needed a permit to cross the checkpoint.
An invitation.
I needed probably the invitation. I needed to make sure my schedule was empty from any other meetings, so I had to empty this block. Months ago, I was asked, because I'm always busy, so I had to empty this block. So I created these opportunities. I needed the money, I needed Ben to drive me, because I can't drive here,
You need to be healthy.
or less. I need to be healthy. All these are the things, and I'm not thinking of them as opportunities. They just, again, unconsciously, these things are happening. At the end of the day, Ben picked me up on the other side of the checkpoint after everything was set, and the action was to drive here. Okay? Now, to go a little bit more into your question. This is how we live our life. And you could think of it as like an iceberg, what's happening, what you see in the ocean. This is every day, this is what we experience. If I ask, what is needed so that I can actually engage in finding these opportunities to engage in actions to achieve results? What is at the heart of this? What is at the bottom of this?
Vision.
The vision.
Emotion. Goals.
Okay. Vision, goals,
Perception.
perceptions. To use the word we used here, okay, the possibility of the future. Why did I empty my schedule, cancel my meetings, get this permit, go through the hassle of crossing a checkpoint, driving for 3 hours to come here? The result is, yes, we do 3 days of training in nonlinear thinking and movement medicine. For me, this is a result. What is the key motivation? What drives me? My heart is the possibility, my vision. The only reason I come here, as I said, I didn't come just to have peace discussions with you. I came here to see, and not to say this is what we'll do the next 2 days, but for me, my interest in meeting is, can we come up with a vision for the future together? And what does that look like? The possibility, just to dream, and we'll do a little bit of that tomorrow, just to dream the possibility of what peace looks like. And then once we dream that dream, to begin to ask, okay, what are the opportunities that we're going to engage in either creating or finding? What are the resources that we have? And then to ask, what are the actions? So this is the why, Why?
Why?
Why do we do what we do? It's not what we do. It's not how we do it, but the why. What is the why that motivates you to do whatever you're doing? Sometimes it's just about living life. I just want to live a happy life. That's fine. And you will find whatever you need to be able to do that. And you'll engage in actions to achieve results that will make you live a happy life. Now, there's still one more. What is needed for a vision to be able to be sustained as a vision, for a dream to be able to be held as a dream? What's that?
What did you ask?
Values. Okay. What is needed for a vision to be held, to be sustained as a vision? What is needed for a dream to be sustained as a dream? Beliefs. Lots of sneezing. What is needed for a vision to be sustained as a vision? Okay, we have communication, patience, imagination, determination.
Can you repeat the question?
What is needed?
Love, all you need is love.
All you need is love. What is needed for a vision to be, not to create a vision? You're answering what?
A group of people.
Okay.
Consciousness.
What's the word you used yesterday?
Consciousness.
Consciousness.
No, you used a beautiful word yesterday, which is relationship.
Relationship. It was this morning, but it was
It feels like it was.
But it feels like today.
A group of people, exactly. Okay? What holds a... If we said... Let's look into here. Oh, this works. The possibility of the future is a conversation, right? We talk about the future. I talk about my vision for the future. Great. I'm talking about peace in this land as a vision for the future. But it's nothing more than a conversation. So the why of the possibility is a conversation. The moment I stop talking about that vision, what happens to that vision? It pretty much disappears until I talk about it again. If it was just my vision, I can think about it, but the moment I stop talking about it publicly, it's like I'm turning off the light. The moment I talk about it, the light is on. So when I say peace in the Holy Land is my vision, that's my vision, okay? The moment I stop talking about it, it doesn't exist. How can it be maintained as a vision? It's actually many people are talking about it. A group of people that have not just a relationship, but a relationship of mutual trust and respect.
What is the first word?
Mutual trust and respect. I can only build a vision with you for peace in this land is if we have relationships of mutual trust and respect. You trust me and respect me, and I trust you and respect you. And we could come up with a vision that we could actually carry then together. And the moment we carry a vision together as a possibility, then we will immediately begin to look for opportunities. Right? Because now we're excited about the common vision that we carry. So what are we going to do? What are the actions they're going to do? How are we going to do this? Who's going to provide resources? Who's going to provide more training? Who's going to bring this community into this discussion? What are the action plans? What are the results that we will achieve? The results that would actually encourage more people to buy into the vision that we carry. Okay.
My feeling is there is one block more in the bottom,
Okay.
which is me. You know, the first, like the relationship that I have with myself. You know, because all the time I'm listening and like there is like a resistance. You know, it's like because you give here a method. You know, which and it sounds not easy, you know. It sounds I need to organize and we need to unite and we need to do things. And like when I listen to my body, I just my feeling is that there is one more step down, you know, which is me, you know, and if I'm in a good relationship with myself, so the output of it is that I will have a beautiful relationship with everybody, you know, and if I'm in conflict with myself, it doesn't matter what you will say, because whatever you will say, what I will experience, it's a reflection of myself. So you can be the most kind person on earth, but I won't experience you like this, you know, because I experience you through myself. Mm-hmm. And once we understand it, you know, and this is what the Buddhism said, you know, just to upside down all this pyramid. And then everything happening easily without effort, because if I am in peace with myself, so easily I'm with peace with everybody, and then there is many opportunities, possibilities, and how to do it is just a question of, it's very intuition, you know, and then the action is easy. You know what I mean? So like without effort, you know, it just like rain goes down, you know, and not like, we need to climb.
I love what you said, but I want to say I wish it was
that simple,
that easy. I'll share a little bit of my journey, and I think I was sharing a little bit yesterday, saying that, and I love Buddhism, and I love Buddhism teaching, and actually a lot of this is based on Buddhism teaching. A lot of this. The challenge that I have is, as I said, there are forces out there are energies out there are people out there that are doing things. Now, we can have this relationship. But to assume that by us having this relationship somehow it creates throwing a stone in the water, you know, they use this example, throw a stone in the water and it creates a ripple effect. That's beautiful when the water is calm and smooth. But I think the reality that we live in now is that the pond is not calm and smooth. We cannot throw one stone and it will create. I feel there's an urgency, and I feel this, that there's an urgency that if we don't do something, things are going to get worse. I'm seeing this on the Israeli side, and I'm seeing this on the Palestinian side. I don't see this process of saying, let's create energy fields and conscious fields and relationship fields as enough. I think it's important. I think personal transformation is important, personal healing is important, personal opening and awakening is important. But I want to see how can this move into engagement as well. And I'm not saying we have to do the same old paradigm. I'm not saying we have to do the same old actions. I'm saying we need to be creative and come up with maybe new ideas of how do we engage. But I want to encourage us to say we need to do something, even if it's conversations. If I look into this model, actually, every level of this, other than the result, is a conversation. This is all conversations. And we could take this model for my own personal process as well. What is my vision for myself? Who do I want to be when I grow up? What is my dream? And to ask, what is the relationship that I need to have with myself, as you were saying? You know, what is the trust that I need to build with myself? What is the pain that I need to heal within myself? What are the opportunities that I need to look into for myself? Is it a course like this? Is it going to India on a meditation retreat? Is it a book that I need to read? A lecture that I need to listen to? And of course then asking the actions and how are these results linked with the possibility that I've created for myself. So I think part of how, maybe again, part of the miscommunication, and maybe I'm presenting this in the way that you're listening to this, is about this, you know, the result, the action, we need to move forward, let's, you know, bring the troops together and get on the street and fight and demonstrate. I'm not saying this. What I'm saying is that we need to have very clear, distinct language in how we engage with each other, individually, in our relationships with our families, and how we relate to our community, and to simply ask, what do I want to be when I grow up? I mean, that's like my question. Where do I want to be 5 years from now? And I can definitely be in a place where I drew from the first chart we did, where I can say, as director of an organization in Bethlehem, I want to be able to train 5,000 people next year. Now we're training 2,000 people. This is good. It's right here. The result I want is to train 5,000 people. The actions I do is training. The opportunity is look for funding. And I say most organizations and most people fall into this trap where we're awake to this. We're looking for opportunities to engage in actions to achieve results. To get more opportunities to engage in actions to achieve results. I find myself 80% of my time fundraising to cover the staff salary. That's how I imagine 40 hours work a week and 30 hours, if not more, are just about, oh my God, the end of the month is coming and I don't have money to pay my salary and my staff salary. Send out a fundraising letter to get more money to pay the salaries. We actually now started doing vision meetings every week at the organization, just to remind ourselves why we exist. I don't know if you do this in your community, you probably do it all the time, every day maybe. But we actually have to remind ourselves, why do we exist as an organization? Why do we exist?
And do you have a mission statement?
We have, but unless you read it and speak it as a conversation,
Feel it.
What is your mission statement?
you can see the brochure. We have them. Okay? When we go deeper into this, and we're not going to do this today, but then we break each one of these into what are the conversations to have so that we can have success in this. How does the conversation for relationship look like? And what you actually did in the exercise before that was a part of the process. The moment you share your heart in truth, in transparency, in trust of others, immediately, relationships of trust and respect begin to build. The moment you don't share in truth, and actually the moment you lie about your truth, then it creates breakdowns in relationships. And it could be within my own self, my conversation. I could lie to myself more than I could lie to you, actually. And I probably do that quite often. A hypocrite to myself. So there are conversations to happen at every level. But now we're going to take a break.
Say one thing before we begin.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sami.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to say that I'm sitting next to Sami here and I'm going, whoa, what Sami is saying is challenging me quite a lot. As his co-leader, who disagrees fundamentally with what he's saying about the inner process. Because I think the inner process is a result in itself. But, and this is where I agree with Sami, it is so we can be, as you were speaking about, ready for action. And this is where we're going to go on the cycle of Joanna Macy on the next stage. And I don't disagree with what Sami says altogether, but I'm really feeling the heat around his challenge, around what are we going to do. And I know he doesn't mean let's just do action planning and go out into the streets and demonstrate. I know he doesn't mean that. But I'm feeling inside myself some sort of defensiveness. I'm saying this in front of my mother. Because for me it's step by step. For me it's small steps. And where we are here now, I revealed to, I don't remember your name, but that there are these red, a short-term job. Making peace is something you do, and you do, and you do, and you do, and you come back to yourself, and you go out. You come back to yourself, and you go out. Just as we did with the movement, go into here, and you practice that every day to check where you are before you go out and change the world. Because if you can't change the world from not knowing this, you're going to be pretty rubbish at it. You're not going to be very good at it. And you're not going to last. You're not going to sustain the effort or the struggle. I'm sure about it.